Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the It's Pizza Time podcast. I am your host, Indigo. Today, I am joined by my co-host, Victor.
Hello.
And our very special guest, Jiqui.
Hello. I am actually, it's pronounced Jiqui, not Jiqui.
Jiqui?
Yeah.
I've been saying it wrong this whole time? Cool.
It's okay. I realized I said it the first time, but it didn't register. But for everyone out there who's wondering how to pronounce it, it's Jiqui. But I understand I didn't pick a very easy name to pronounce.
I mean, it's like, that's all good. And now people know, so it's like...
Yeah.
Now
it's out there in the world, so now there's no excuses.
Exactly. Right. It's like if you make the mistake, you can just like link them this video, and then you'll be like,
Didn't you see my podcast? I went over it extensively.
Yeah.
I actually had it in my SoundCloud bio for a while, but I don't think it worked because people were still asking me how to pronounce it because they couldn't tell from my spelling.
People can't read, so
yeah. I like. Because it's like, I initially thought it was Jiqui, but I heard a lot of people saying Jiqui, so I was like, oh shit, that's probably it then. Because usually I'm just stupid, and like, I usually don't know how to say it. So, fuck. I guess I was right then. But I was actually wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like, Jiqui isn't the worst. Like, when people say it, like, sometimes so many people say it, I just, like, don't even try to correct them. Because it's, like... well, it's my own fault for picking the name, but I mean, yeah. Hopefully it'll start to circulate a little more so people will get the proper pronunciation down.
Yeah, I got you. You think it's ever
go ahead.
No, go on. Like, I was gonna say, like, have you ever like gotten to a point where it's like, do you think there's ever been people like, have you ever played a show?
Yeah, I played some shows.
So it's like, have you ever been on the mic? It's like, my name is like Jiqui, and then people were like, wait, what? Like, just kind of like...
Well, like usually, like, because, so when I went to, I actually haven't played a lot of shows, but like, most of the time when I get up there, I first just say like, I'm Jiqui, blah, 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 break your neck, the classic spiel.
Yeah.
And then, I haven't really seen anyone in the crowd be like, oh wait, that's how you say it. But I have like had a lot of people, like, they hear it, they're like, dude, I had no idea how to pronounce your name. Now I know, like, because they hear it in like a video or something, like because 1 out of like 10 people will say it right. But I actually, so the origin of the name, it's so stupid. Like, basically when I was like, can't remember how old I was. I was in like 8th grade, like 15, 16. No, I don't know. Around that age, my friend was showing me like Skrillex, and that's how I first like heard about dubstep. So then right away I was like, I gotta like get more into this stuff, like figure out like how to make it. So then the next day I like downloaded legally FL Studio because I was young and I had lots of money to spend on it. So I was able to like fully legally download it. I actually cracked it, but
hey, like, I could censor that, and we'll just like,
I had to say it for legal reasons.
Yeah.
So on my mom's laptop, but yeah, so then I was like just learning how to make music and stuff, and then me and my friend, like the friend that showed me, I was like, man, like, what should we call like my like. What should we make like my DJ name? And then basically like we were just like spitballing like random names, and then he said Jiqui, and then we were like, oh, I kind of like it. And then we like, there's really no meaning behind it like whatsoever. Then we just ran with it. And I like, so like go like a little more in depth on that. So like I produced music for like 2 years ish till I was in like 10th or 11th grade. And then my mom's laptop, which is what I was producing on, like the hard drive failed, so I lost everything. And around the time when I was like making music like that, I was like doing like decently well. Like it was back in the days when like I don't know if you guys know like Alpha Noise. Then that name rings a bell.
Not so much, actually.
No.
Okay, it was right around the time when like Zomboy made like Terror Squad and everyone was doing like that kind of thing. That
Oh,
was
okay.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so then I was like starting to see like a little bit of success with my project, but I was so young, I didn't really know what I was doing. Like I didn't really see it as like a feasible like career or anything. And plus I was also a basketball player in high school and like I was like a religious like basketball player. So I was just the hard drive failed and I was kind of like there's not really any point in me like continuing this. So then I just kind of like completely forgot about music. And then like a few years later after I graduated, I basically went to like my first music festival and then like I kind of just like it just made me like fall in love with the idea of making music again. And plus like a bunch of other shit happened before that. Like because going out of high school, I was gonna play college basketball, but I got sick before I graduated with pneumonia. And
Mm.
I got it like 5 times like back to back. Like every time I get better, I'd get it again. And then I was like in and out of the hospital. So it like kind of killed all my motivation for basketball. Then I played like the first semester of college and then I was just like so out of shape because like pneumonia, like it can take like years to recover from it fully. Like some people like you can get like permanent scarring in your lungs like from it if it's bad enough.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get myself like back to the like physical condition I was in before. So I just was like, fuck it, like I'm quitting basketball. So I quit basketball, stayed in school, and then again, like I was saying, that summer I went to my first music festival, and then I just like fell in love with it again. Then instantly, like as soon as I got back from the festival, I like paid for my mom's laptop to get fixed, got it fixed, and then I like started like taking music more seriously, like really like diving into it. Then I went to school for my second year and then I kept like progressing with music and stuff. And then finally, like I just was like falling in love with it so much. I was just like, fuck it. And like I dropped out of school, just started like working a full-time job, saving up some money. And then right before that summer, because I got a new Mac or I got like a MacBook Air that I was using for school and I was using that for music production. And then that laptop crashed. I lost everything for the second time. And I was like so defeated after that happened. Like I was like, I don't know if there's any point in continuing. Then one of my homies like from back home was like, no man, like you got to keep going. You got to keep going. So then I just went all in, bought a new MacBook Pro, like one of the new ones with the touch bar.
Mm-hmm.
This was still like a couple years back. And then as soon as I got that laptop, I started like noticing that I was improving a lot faster and stuff. And then like, yeah, the story goes on and now I'm here, like actually like doing like music is actually becoming like sort of a feasible thing for me now.
Gotta look into getting an external or like a USB.
Yeah,
so,
Yeah.
so dude, that's the thing. Like I did get an external drive on my MacBook and then my external drive crashed and then the MacBook crashed.
Bro.
Dude.
And after that, even still, I had like 2 more drives crash on me. Like I have the worst luck with that kind of stuff.
I understand. Victor knows this. This thing recently crashed on me as well. 2 terabyte drive. I owned it for 1 month. It's like,
No.
yeah, and then it just died on me. So I think they sent me a faulty one. I was
Well,
so
the thing is that
upset.
they're mechanical, so like they actually have moving parts in them. Those bigger ones, the actual
Yeah.
hard drives, so
Yeah.
they're more prone to failing. So if you
Yeah.
get like an SSD or an M.2, it's gonna probably won't crash as much.
Yeah.
And
So
like
I have
SSDs are mad cheap now
Man,
too.
yeah, but I'm not spending fucking. It was like 130 for a 1 terabyte fucking SSD, while it's
Yeah,
like
just, I
only
mean,
20
for,
bucks
like,
for a 1
music and
terabyte hard
stuff.
drive.
Do you need 1 terabyte for songs? Like FL projects aren't that big.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I do have an SSD that's just really old though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you also have to take into account like samples, which take up a huge
Oh,
amount
yeah,
of space,
for
and
sure.
then like music library. But like so I actually so right now I'm visiting my girlfriend. She lives in Texas, and I'm from like Vancouver in Canada. Um, And so I have a PC at my house, and I just bring my MacBook with me when I travel because I just built a PC like a few months back. And on my Mac right now, I have an external SSD, and it's been like super good. Like, and the thing with SSDs is they're so much faster for like loading files.
For sure.
And so I've had this like Samsung portable SSD that's like, it's knock on wood, it's been really good so far and hasn't crashed on me at all. So, but I'm only going to be using like SSD from now on. But in my PC, I have a 1 terabyte M.2 SSD, and then I have a 2 terabyte mechanical drive. Like the one, it looks like exactly the same one that you just showed. Is it a WD?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I probably have the same one.
It's WD that I don't like because they sent me a fucking faulty hard drive.
I don't know if you can blame them though.
I can blame them. I can and will blame them. Okay, like, you know what? Fuck them. I owned it for a month. I didn't actually do like anything difficult with it. It just sat there, literally did nothing, and it just killed itself on me. So like, you know, whatever.
Sometimes they just shit the bed, man.
Yeah, man. That's unfortunate. Okay, we're about 10 minutes into the episode, and like we haven't even asked like.
Yeah.
Did you?
I was kind of going off there. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of gave an example of who you are, right? You kind of gave that summary. So let's just move on to the first question of the podcast, being, what is your favorite kind of pizza?
Honestly, probably gonna have to go with just a classic pepperoni.
There's nothing
Can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the classics. Like,
yeah.
There's, you know,
if I like, it's kind of hard to pinpoint sometimes because, like, I mean, I do like pepperoni, but I mean, sometimes like I like those like, actually not even like crazy ones, but like there's this case. So I actually should have asked you guys where you're from.
Yeah, we're out in LA.
We're both in LA.
Out in LA, okay. So I don't think the US has it. It's called Panago.
That doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, I think it's Canadian. So Panago is this.
Yeah, it might exist in different parts of the country, but not around here at least.
Yeah, so it's like a pizza. It's like pretty common in Canada, but they have this pizza. It's called chicken club something, but it's unreal. Like, it's got like, I don't know, it's like this white sauce chicken, bacon. I don't really like tomatoes, but there's tomatoes on it. I usually just get it with no tomatoes, but it's unreal. It's like, I can't remember the name of it exactly, but it's so good. But it's like one of those pizzas you'd like only get every once in a while because it's like kind of greasy, but it's good. It's delicious. But it sucks you guys don't have Panago here.
I mean, if I ever go to the Vancouver area, I'll be sure to like hit you up, and you can show me what's up. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know, man. It like,
I used to actually deliver pizzas for Panago back like when I
so there's a bias involved, I see.
Okay, that's true. That's true. But I also did deliver pizza for Domino's before.
Oh, okay.
So you didn't hear me say anything about Domino's.
Hey, but like Domino's is like, you know.
Domino's is like once you've hit desperation.
Domino's is like what you call if like nobody else is open.
Well, Domino's is not that bad, all right? There's many worse pizza places than Domino's.
No, for sure, but it's just like out of like the choices that you have.
Yeah,
you know,
the last
for such a big name, I feel like you gotta bring something more to the table than what they bring to the table.
That's fair.
They just have like nice branding because it's Domino's, you know.
Yeah,
everyone's gonna recognize that.
Fucking yeah. I mean,
DiGiorno over Domino's.
Honestly, I agree with that. DiGiorno's not bad at all. I fucking like DiGiorno.
Yeah, like
is DiGiorno? Is that like?
It's
I've never heard of it.
DiGiorno's the frozen ones. It's like it's not delivery. It's DiGiorno. The ones like in store.
Delissio. Did it used to be called Delissio or something, or am I tripping?
Maybe it's different branding for Canada.
Maybe it's different because I know we have Delissio. It's like the same thing. It's like the frozen pizza that you get in the frozen section of the grocery store.
Yeah,
there's like another one. It's called like Red Baron. That one's kind of but.
There's a lot of those, I think. But I think DiGiorno is like either the most well known, but it's also probably the best one.
It's because they got like really good marketing. So, and also like it looks
Oh, like
actually decent.
Those commercials when they like have a delivery driver go up to the door and they're like, "Oh, this isn't delivery," like, and the people are like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this isn't delivery."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'd have to try like this Diorno. That's what's called Diorno?
DiGiorno.
I have to give it a try.
Yeah,
DiGiorno. I have to give it a try.
It's honestly pretty solid, but the only reason, in my opinion, I feel like the only way DiGiorno could be a bad experience for you is if like you fuck it up yourself.
Yeah, because it's like, all you literally have to do is put it in the oven.
Yeah,
and take it out and set a timer.
Like, I mean, you can burn it and like be like, "Yo, this is shit," but it's like it's your fault.
Dude, I've definitely, me and my friend. It's funny because his name actually is Marco, and he. I think it was him. We got one of those one time, like the Delicio, and then we put it in the oven and like completely forgot about it, and it was like charcoal when we pulled it out, and I was like, "Oh my god!" It was depressing. It was like burnt to a crisp.
Was it like you could like smell that there was something burning and you're like, what is that?
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
then as soon as we were like, "What is that?" And then I was like, "Oh fuck!" And then we ran, and then
trust me, I have that shit happen to me all the time. I'll do the same thing, like boiling water just for tea. I'll like set it and then like come to my room, literally just sit on my phone for 2 minutes, and then what feels like 2 minutes turns into 10, and I'm just like, wait.
Yeah. What was I doing?
Yeah, it's like I've never had that happen to me with like the actual like food, because usually I put a timer on, but I have done that with like other things where it's like where either I'll leave the pot of water like to boil, and then like by the time I get there, like or by the time I remember that I put water to boil, it's like most of it has evaporated at that point.
Yeah.
And then like, or like fucking the non-food related one that I sometimes have is like laundry, because I fucking
that's a classic one.
Because sometimes I'll have the timer set, right, but I'll be doing something in the meantime, and then the timer goes off, and it's like, okay, I'll just finish this, and then I'll go do it, and then I just forget that I have the laundry in there. Like the worst I had it was like I left it in the dryer, and I like it's like a laundromat, so that it's like, you know, it's open access for the entire, like, I'm in a complex right now.
Okay.
So so pretty much anybody could just go take it, and it just sat there for like 9 hours. I just
people got respect.
Like, I just like it was like 2 a.m. I was like, oh fuck, I left that in there.
Then you're just praying, please be in there when I go check.
Yeah, because like I'm just hoping that, you know, like for the most
people
part my neighbors
aren't throwing it on the floor too.
They could do that. Yeah, for the most part my neighbors aren't shitty though. And it's like we have enough, I think we have enough washing machines and dryers and shit, so it's like it's usually not that bad.
Yeah. For sure.
All right, let's talk about, I guess, a little bit about the actual Jiqui project. So I guess you've already come to talk about like the origin of it and all that.
Yeah.
So what was it like? I guess, did you have like any musical background prior to that, or was like dubstep like your first?
So I've always kind of been like naturally like musically inclined, because my dad, like, he's like a music junkie. Like he like I grew up like listening to like so many different bands. Like some of my favorite bands that I still listen to sometimes, like Billy Talent, Tool, like bands like Led Zeppelin, like some of the classics. Like I grew up like listening to stuff like that, like a very wide range, like Metallica I love. But then I started playing guitar when I was 6 or 7, and then I still know how to play, but I haven't played it in a while. But like, I'm sure if I picked up a guitar, I could. It's funny that I say that, because last night I actually had a dream I was playing guitar again, and I haven't picked up a guitar in like a few years. But I played it till I was like in like 7th grade. Then once I hit high school, like I started producing music, so I kind of like forgot about guitar. And then I also like went to a lot of concerts with my dad when I was little. Like I went to, I've seen Metallica, I've seen Tool twice, Foo Fighters. I can't even think. Green Day, bunch of other bands too. That's just off the top of my head. But yeah, my dad like grew up basically like driving music into my head, which is good though because I love music.
I mean, yeah, that's like I feel like I don't want to say like I guess I'm jealous, but like I don't want to say like I envy people, but like I do kind of feel like I would have loved to have like I guess a closer interaction with like music or with at least live music when I was younger, or when I was like when I was a kid, because I didn't have I didn't really get that opportunity because like neither of my parents were like, but like my dad was like into like 80s music, but other than that, fucking he didn't really like go to any live shows. And being in LA, there's like no venues that are usually all ages, and when especially like when I'm a kid, there's not very when you're like when you're also like the only dubstep kid like in like middle school and high school, there's like nobody that will go with you. So you're like so obviously your parents aren't gonna let like a 14-year-old go to like a club in downtown, even if it's all ages. You know?
Yeah,
it's like,
for sure.
It's what it is.
Yeah, like my dad goes to so many concerts. Like him and his friends, like they always like anytime. Because so basically, I'm actually from this town called Kamloops, which is 3 hours north of Vancouver. But I did live in Vancouver. I'm living with my parents now, just until stuff with COVID settles. But
yeah,
it's just easier to say Vancouver because everyone knows Vancouver.
Right.
But so in Kamloops, there's like, it's like a country and rap town. Like it's like it's not, I wouldn't say a small city. It's like 100,000 people. So it's smaller. And there's like one venue there, but they don't really ever have any like big acts come through. It's mostly like mid-tier, like, nothing like too crazy. So we always go to because Vancouver is where they have all the concerts, and the venues there are all ages, but they usually would play, like I would go to like arena shows, like not like club shows, because I didn't start going to like club shows or EDM shows till like a couple years ago. Because I'm only 22, so and the legal age in Canada is 19.
Yeah.
And even for like the first year that I was 19, I didn't go to any EDM shows because, again, in Kamloops, like nobody likes EDM. There's like a very, very small underground scene. So that's like part of the reason why I moved to Vancouver, because there's a much bigger scene there.
Yeah, and like when you're 19 and like your friends don't want to go with you, you're just not going to go by yourself unless you're super diehard. And like you said, it's like 3 hours away. So like it's definitely a trip to like actually have to go out there and then drive back.
Oh yeah, dude.
Get back somehow.
Yeah, and the highway to and from like Vancouver to Kamloops, called the Coquihalla. It's like a pretty dangerous drive. Like if you're not like a shitty driver, like you should avoid driving it. But like during the winter when it snows really bad and shit, it's like insanely like stressful. So like me and my friend, there's this music festival in Vancouver. It's called Contact. It's like one of the biggest festivals in Western Canada, or like I think even on the West Coast, or there's some, I don't know, something. Anyways, it's on Boxing Day, so it's December 26th and 27th. So we went down. The drive down there was fine. Like the roads were a little icy. It was like nothing too scary, and my dad let me take his SUV down there because I have like a little Hyundai Accent, like a little 4-door sedan, and like you don't want to be driving that on those roads. And then on the way back, there was like this crazy blizzard. Like normally the drive, like I said, takes like 3 hours. It took us like 9 hours to get home, and it was the most like stressful drive of my life. Like I was driving and I had like 4 other people in the car, and the whole time we were just like shitting our pants. It was it was sketch. So sometimes it's like not even worth it to go down there. Like I would never want to do that again.
Like,
Right.
yeah, as much as I dislike LA for being like very stagnant with weather, it is kind of nice that we don't have to worry about like terrible driving conditions. It's usually very
Besides the
predictable.
people.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah, and
fucking-
dude, yeah, like the people, like people panic once there's snow. Like you just have to literally just slow down, gear down, and like take it easy. But people just panic, and then there's the people who like can't slow down. They just have to get everywhere as fast as they can, and then it just causes accidents and shit. And it's just, I hate the snow. Like it's not really the snow that I hate; it's driving in snow that I just absolutely despise. Mostly because of other people, because nobody, like everyone just panics once there's snow. But
Yeah.
Same thing with rain, because most people here in LA don't know what rain is. So once it starts raining and you gotta drive, people are slipping and sliding. They can't drive here normally. Like,
yeah, that's very true. Like if they can't drive when the sun is out, like they're not gonna be able to drive with like a few drops of water.
dude, I almost get hit just walking my dog all the time. It's kind of fucking crazy. Like, people just genuinely don't know how to drive here. Like, everyone's on their phone, always occupied by something else. So,
that's one of my biggest pet peeves is when I'm in the passenger seat with somebody and they're like texting and shit while they're driving. It makes me very uncomfortable.
Same.
And like very anxious. Like I had one homie who did it all the time, and I told him, I was like, man, you need to stop doing that when I'm in the car. I was like, when I'm not in the car, go ahead. But like, it just like, it got to the point where it was making me so uncomfortable. I just had to talk to him. I was like, dude, like, we can't keep going on like this. He's like a great homie of mine. Like, we have the kind of relationship where like I could say something like that and not feel bad. But yeah, I was like, dude, you're gonna kill us. Like, yeah. And I had one other homie one time, like we were in the car and then we were just kind of like drifting, and I look over and he's like replying to an email, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Out here really just like straight up writing a whole fucking essay, like at the red light too.
Like pitching an email to a label while he's driving.
It's like, bro, it's a red light. I can use my phone. No, just put that shit away.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like I can understand. It's like if they're comfortable, or if they're like confident enough in their driving skills that they think that they can, manage to multitask. But it's like, to anybody that's a passenger, they don't know how good of a driver you are, and they definitely don't feel as confident as you are. It's just terrifying.
Dude, yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, if you want to do it, like, do it when you're driving by yourself. Don't do it with other people in the car.
Yeah.
That's just my perspective on that.
If anything, just don't do it in the car at all. Just
exactly.
Exactly.
Get it done. Get it done when you're supposed to. Like,
dude, yeah, I don't know what it's like down here, but in the province that I'm from, BC, and like generally across Canada, if you get pulled over for texting and driving, you get like ridiculous fines. Like, they give you big tickets.
Yeah, man.
Like,
yeah, it's like, do they do that here, Victor? I don't think they do it as strictly.
I don't think it's as bad.
I think if they catch you, though, it's like, it's actually a decent amount, but usually they don't even like bother, because you can like, there's just so many
people and there's so many different things. Yeah, but if they do catch you, like my mom, there's like cameras now for everything. Like, my mom just had her phone in her hand. She was just calling, right? Like she was setting. She has like that thing where you put it on your dashboard, right? And she uses it as a GPS, right? And she was just touching her phone for the GPS, and the shit scanned her, and then it showed like her on the call, and she got sent a ticket in the mail. So,
yeah, dude, it's crazy. Like, here, like, your phone isn't even supposed to be visible. Like, there's like certain exceptions, like like if you have it as like using it as a GPS, but you're like not allowed to touch it. It's kind of weird. Well, it's not weird. It's like good that they
like while you're
so
driving,
strict about it. Yeah, like you don't need to be using it while you're driving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, fucking driving in like weird weather conditions, it's like sucks. I think the worst I've ever experienced which isn't like as bad as a blizzard, but there was one day out here where it was like raining like fucking insane. Like fuck, it was like it was enough to like flood the LA River, which is saying something considering the LA River is like it's like a puddle. It's absolutely
It's massive.
nothing.
Like
It's a huge like fucking like
concrete or something.
but it's like it's very it's very like open. There's a lot of space, but there's like actually like never any water in there because it's LA.
Doesn't rain.
Why would there ever be a fucking river? But it rained so much that like it was like almost overflowing, which really said something.
Damn.
And
That's crazy.
like my dad was like this was like when I was in high school, and he picked me and my sister up, and he was like, all right, we're gonna go camping. And then like right after we got out of school, like, and he had packed everything, and I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, all right, I don't want to, but fine. And then we started driving. It started raining. I'm like, all right, cool. It started raining more and harder and harder. And I'm like, all right, this is a little disheartening, because like if we're gonna go camping, I don't want to camp in this shit. And then we're like past the LA River, and it's like completely flooded. And we get all the way out to like the mountain that we're like going up to like camp at, and like the river is like or like fucking the road is like covered in like a fucking rock slide or like a mudslide that just happened because of the rain.
Damn.
And it took us like a few hours to get there, and then it took us like 2-3 hour drive to get there. But then we spent like 2 hours trying to figure out where, like trying to figure out another path to get there, which we couldn't. And then we ended up just having dinner and then going back home. So we ended up just, driving around for like 9 hours and didn't end up like just to get home.
Yeah, that sucks. That is unfortunate.
It really is. Like, I feel bad for like those people who live in those like towns where there's only like one road in and out. That's like, because if that road gets blocked, you're like fucked.
You're fucked. Yeah. Yeah, dude. We don't really like in Kamloops. You don't really get like that bad of rain, but in Vancouver, it's like it rains like every fucking day. Like some days it's like torrential downpour, but like most of the time it's just like drizzling. In the summer it gets like a little warm, but
yeah. I mean, like, you guys are close to like Seattle, so it's like it's probably the same kind of weather there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, it probably helps at least a lot, like, right now with the whole smoky, like, fire shit. It, like, helps that you guys are in in a climate that it's so, like, rainy. If that spreads to down here, we're basically fucked. There's never any, like, weather conditions to help us.
Yeah.
It's
just, you guys get snow days, we get ash days, because I remember one time we had school canceled for like 3 days because of how bad the smoke was. Like, you could run your finger across the desk and it would like you pick up all the ash.
Damn, that's crazy.
And that's like inside the classroom, so you just wipe your finger.
The windows were open. If you leave the windows open, obviously it's gonna be fucking.
Yeah, of course. But it's crazy, like how like of course you don't think about it, how it just travels in the air. And all the time when I'm hiking or just outside of LA, every time I look towards LA and just like downtown or anything, you can just kind of see the smog. It's kind of sad because like when you're in it, you don't realize it. Except like, I mean, I pull out my phone and I check my weather app and it's always like, yeah, it's unhealthy, right? Especially like Santa Monica or just anywhere. But you don't realize it until you're out like doing other stuff.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Because one of my friends moved to LA and she said the same thing. She was like, once I went there, like I couldn't believe like the air quality and stuff.
Bro, it's actually crazy that you check your phone every day and then it tells you it's unhealthy for sensitive people every day.
That's so crazy, man. I can't believe that.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of what I like. LA is like a weird city. It's so it's definitely like not a very like, I guess, healthy city when it comes to just pollution and shit like that. Like if you just go like a little bit outside. If you go to Catalina, which is like it's an island like right off the coast of LA, like not that far. Like you can like at midnight you can see that there's like you can see like all the stars in the sky from that island, but you look over like at the mainland and there's like this orange like glow from the city, and then it's just gross.
That's
like,
crazy, man. Like, I don't know if I could ever like. No offense, I don't know if I could ever live there. Not because of that reason, just like generally, it's like because a lot of people like. Well, I feel like a lot of people used to say they always wanted to move there, but I just don't know if I could like, if I'd want to.
It's definitely a good place to live in terms of just like, I guess, working and then socializing and like getting stuff done. Weather's fantastic. You meet a lot of people. Cultures are so diverse, and you get to eat so much different food.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
It's just a good time, but like the rent prices are ridiculous, and then of course you have the smog issue. It's not. It's like. When you're in it, it doesn't seem bad, but like literally, like as soon as you get out of the city and you look in, you're like, "Holy fuck, I'm breathing this shit in," right? So,
yeah, that's the same with Vancouver. Not like just with rent prices. Like, basically, like to live comfortably there, you have to be making like good fucking money, and like to live like so. Basically, how Vancouver's separated is like. There's the actual city of Vancouver. And then there's like kind of like little like I want to call them like districts. I don't know what the word would be, like kind of leading into Vancouver that are kind of a part of Vancouver, but they're big enough to have a different name. I don't know what the word is. But basically
like
there's a section called except it's like actual like cities kind of like within it because Vancouver's huge, right? So
I know what you're talking about because we have those in like LA too. We have like smaller like cities within the bigger city of LA. Like,
it's like a community type thing.
But yeah, exactly. So there's like Burnaby, Surrey, Langley, Coquitlam, and
Burroughs, maybe?
Like West Vancouver, North Vancouver, and like as you get farther into Vancouver, like the rent goes up, and then once you actually get to like downtown Vancouver, like having like my homie lives in a 1-bedroom apartment, like downtown Vancouver, and the apartments there are so small too, like insanely small, and it's like over like 2,200 a month. That's like just
for
the rent cost for one bedroom,
shit.
and it's so small, dude. It's crazy how expensive it is down there, and that's like 2,200 before like internet, utilities, like all that stuff too. That's like just the place. So you gotta be pretty ballin' to live down there or work like 8 jobs.
Seriously.
But yeah, best way to do it is like serving, I think, or like obviously if you like have a really well-paid job. But like a lot of people I know who can afford to live down there are servers.
It's those tips.
Yeah, big tips. Yeah, so I lived in this little city called Abbotsford, which is like it's like an hour outside of Vancouver. So Abbotsford is kind of like 2 hours away from my hometown of Kamloops, and then you basically drive another hour to get into Vancouver, but it's got technically a part of Vancouver. But it's nice because like Vancouver is like super busy, traffic all the time, like no matter where you go. But Abbotsford is like pretty chill. So like basically the whole reason that I moved down there was for music because there's this group. I'll give them a shout out right now, M&G. They kind of like they're based out of, they're like it's like a Canadian like record label. They also like put on shows and shit like in Vancouver, and they kind of like I met a friend at a Joyride show, and I kind of knew about M&G, and like he was wearing an M&G shirt, and this is right when I was kind of starting to like see a little bit of traction on my project. And then I was like, oh dude, like can you get me in contact with like the guys who run M&G? I'd like love to send them some stuff or whatever. So then I ended up getting in contact with one of my friends. His name's Chandler. He's like one of my best friends. He like helped run things with M&G, and then he kind of like I showed him my stuff, and then he said, "Oh, you should come down, like hang out with me, and like let's like chill." So then I went down there and met him. Then there's another guy who's like his name's Vince. He runs like everything in M&G, and basically they kind of like took me under their wing and like told me like to move down to Vancouver to like start like taking my music to like the next level, I guess. And like to start playing shit because like I said, in Kamloops there's like no scene, right? And in Vancouver there's like obviously a scene for EDM, like bass music. And so I like basically in the span of like a couple weeks, I basically just like said fuck it, like quit my job, pack my shit, and move down there. Because I was just like, if I don't do it now, like I might just sit on it and then decide not to do it. So I just like basically said fuck it, like just dropped everything, moved down there, and then I was living with like couple of my homies like on and off because like basically so going into what my original point was going to be, there's this house down there and there's a lot of farms out in Abbotsford. Like there's a like if you go like deep enough into it, there's just like farm after farm after farm. And we had this house that I lived with like 4 other producers, and it was on a farm. So that was where I ended up moving to in the end. And then it was super sick because like we had like an actual studio in the house, and we each had our own like studio in our room too. But the studio that like was like professionally treated, had like professional equipment in it and stuff. So we had that, and obviously since like we were in like a very secluded property, so there was like no noise restriction. Like we could play music as loud as we want, as late as we want. Like it was just like a really kind of like ideal situation to be in as a producer. Like it definitely had like its flaws. I won't like go into that, but like it was like really it was a really good like kind of dynamic, I guess, in the house.
Yeah,
but like once
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say like once COVID kind of hit, like it started to become like really hard. Like the whole like because obviously like our main so like I live with like sorry, I just lost my train of thought. The whole like everything just got fucked up because of COVID, because like obviously like we like relied on like playing shows and stuff, like and like just like the whole like everyone, well obviously anybody who's in like our industry right now like knows how COVID has affected it. So it became like really hard, and like I said, like it's like expensive to live down there. So then eventually I just like made a decision to go like stay back with my parents until stuff settles down, because like at that point I'm just like wasting money on rent and like food and whatever, like for who knows how long now. So my dad, like I talked with my dad, and like him and my mom had wanted me to come home for a while because of COVID. So I just decided to say fuck it, like go back home, and then maybe once stuff gets better I'd go back down there, or like maybe come down here or something. I don't know, because like it's really hard to tell what's going on with COVID, right?
Yeah.
But it was definitely like it definitely helped, like moving down there definitely like helped me kind of like break into the scene a little bit. Like I got to play some shows, and then like got to make like some new connections and stuff. Like because once I moved down there, like all I was doing like every weekend I would go out to shows, like make new connections, like meet new people, and like I would just like grind music. Like once I got off work, I would just get home, like work on tunes and stuff, and then I just like stacked up a bunch of tunes for the year. And then like it was kind of just like a domino effect. Like after that, like I think what like really started it was I was at Base Canyon not last summer, but the summer. Oh no, yeah, it was last summer. And Company played out one of my tracks, like one of my unreleased tracks, and that was like the first time I'd ever like seen one of my tracks being played out. and it was like so sick like when that happened, because like I did not know it was gonna happen. Like I know that I'd sent him some stuff beforehand, and then he ended up playing it out, and it was so sick. And then after that, it was just kind of like the ball kept rolling, and like more people started to support, and then it just like led to today. And the other big one was when I was Lost Lands last year. Excision and Millennium opened their back to back with one of my tracks, and like it's funny because it's a track of mine that I absolutely hate. So I was like, that's. But I was in there's a store called Winners. It's kind of like a department store, and like instantly, like my phone just started exploding, and everyone was like, Excision just played like World Ender for his back to back, and I like went and watched it and it happen. And I was like, holy shit, like that was a pretty crazy moment. And then I just like shit just kept happening from there, and then now I'm just still Jiqui, still grinding, but that's kind of like how I like moving down to like Vancouver, like somewhere where there was actually a scene, like really helped like
I mean,
push things in the right direction.
Yeah, moving to where there's a scene definitely like helps in somebody's career. Especially if you're like no, if you're able to play shows, it definitely helps. If you're not playing shows like in either way, I don't think it matters too much. Especially like in our genre, since it's our genre is very like internet based.
Like yeah.
So it's which is really awesome. Like you can get talent from literally anywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you can have like for electronic, it's like obviously you have a lot of acts that are out in LA because it's like, the fucking entertainment hub of the world, but you get like you have a lot of people. I know like I know a guy like Bishu working out of like Halifax, Canada. Like and other people like working out of like, you got people working out of like Calgary, people working out of like different like smaller cities. Like San Antonio has a pretty
Texas,
decent scene, like El Paso and shit like that, and it's like fucking all right, dope. But like you even got people like working from like Austria and all that shit. Yeah. It's like
dude, people from everywhere. But yeah, like it, like moving down there was like just like it was such a crazy difference, like just seeing like how much progress I could make, like just literally by going to shows like whenever I could and like meeting new people at those shows and stuff. And then eventually like people kind of start to like recognize you, like if you're showing your face, like let's say like every other weekend or something. And then like it's just like I feel like if you're like somebody who's like aspiring to do that, like to be like a music producer and like you live somewhere where there's no scene, like if you really wanted to, like you don't have to by any means, like obviously talent speaks for itself, but if you really want to like try to like progress and make good connections and like set yourself up for success, it's definitely like a good move to move somewhere where there's a bigger scene. If you live somewhere like where I live, like where there's literally no scene, like there was like I could have gotten to like the point where I am now, like by staying in Kamloops, but it would have taken a lot longer, I think.
Yeah, probably. I mean, like because it's like also you gotta it's also a lot of people that like live in smaller cities and stuff like that aren't surrounded by the scene. I guess they also don't really. That way, they don't also like run into people that could. They don't run into like people that could help like advance their project, as well as they're not very, and they're not people that are out and about anywhere. Like they don't realize, or they forget that they need to put in like more effort when it comes to like marketing and managing this stuff. Because it's like if nobody's out there, like how are they gonna find you? You need to like put way more effort into that stuff.
Like networking is so huge. Like I feel like another thing too, like that, like for people who want to like make it to that point, like you have to like also be like, you have to be confident in yourself and you have to be like confident in your art, because like that was kind of like when I first like reached out to M&G, I just said like I really think like I have some, I don't know if that would work for every person, but I just like was like confident in my art and said like I think I have some demos you guys would really like I'd really appreciate like if you guys check them out. And then it also helped that like they were super friendly, so like they were willing to listen. But like being confident in your art is important too, and like there's also like a difference between like being confident and being arrogant, and I think like a lot of people like don't realize that and like can't really see the difference,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. Like even with like not just like aspiring producers, like even like some like producers like or like more established producers, like there's a big difference between being confident and being arrogant, and still like being confident yet still being humble, which I think
Oh
is
yeah.
like really important.
Yeah, you gotta be
But
open-minded for sure.
Like
yeah,
yeah, because you can say like you can be like confident in the fact that like, oh, this is gonna, I believe that this is gonna do well, but then there's
mhm.
you can't like be like if it doesn't do well, you're stupid. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, like
if you don't like it, like what the hell's wrong? This is the next big thing.
oh dude, every time like they're like that's yeah, like when it's kind of it's kind of a touchy subject, because like I'm not like obviously talking about anybody in particular. It's just like generally like stuff you see like on social media, like the way you like carry yourself and present yourself, especially nowadays with like how easy it is for stuff to be like misconstrued on the internet. Like you have to be like very careful with like how you present yourself and how you word things, or like how you like
Yeah.
bring up topics to people.
Absolutely.
Like you see it, like we've all seen it, like everyone's seen it, like people's your career can literally disappear like that if you're like not careful, or like well obviously with some situations like with some of the bigger artists, like there's some pretty heavy allegations, but I mean like
Yeah.
I don't know, again it's kind of another like touchy subject.
I mean, just don't be stupid. I mean, like
Yeah, exactly, like don't say stupid shit.
that, and then I remember seeing a tweet from Diplo saying like, you know, Daft Punk is like one of the biggest artists of all time, and they're in EDM and well, not necessarily EDM, but they make electronic music.
Yeah,
But the reason they're doing so well is because they don't talk.
yeah,
So yeah,
it's true. And the thing that also makes it tough, I think, especially for dubstep, is like because like everyone is very vocal on like social media. Like a lot of like most dubstep producers, I'd say, or like most like established dubstep producers are like very vocal on social media.
Yeah.
And like again, that's another thing that's important too, is like you have to have like a good presence and like a good like kind of like not persona, but like you want people to be able to like relate to you, right? You want people to like
Yeah.
respect you, and you want to respect your fans and like other people's fans and stuff. And
Yeah.
that's just like super important. And like I think like some people like don't think before they say shit. Like for example, like all that stuff with Carbon that just happened, like he came back and then he tweeted like, "Oh, I made Rhythm in 1 hour. Now it's on Subsidia." And then it was just like, dude, like read the room,
Yeah.
because like yeah, it's just
I'm
unfortunate to like
Yeah, I
and
mean, yeah, some people are just there. It like happens occasionally like that. Like it's not just like there's just some people that like kind of need to, I guess, check themselves, if that makes sense.
yeah, exactly.
Cause
It's like
cause it's like you gotta realize like when you're on social media, you can't like socialize or you can't like interact on social media as you would with like a group of your friends, because these people have like grown
exactly.
to like tolerate you, and then now you're like, but you're trying to communicate with people that like they technically don't know anything about you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like completely different if I'm like in a Discord call with my homies, like the stuff that we're gonna say, like you just it's a very like tricky, not necessarily tricky, but like I don't know the word I'm looking for. You just have to be careful. That's the bottom line. Like, and just don't be an asshole, and just be a nice person.
Yeah, I mean, like even with me and Marco, we'll hit it off sometimes. We'll just like kind of argue, not argue, but like more of a discussion.
Yeah,
and we'll go back and forth. But at the end of the day, we both respect each other.
Yeah, we can do that because we're friends. Like that's like you can argue with your friends. Like I'd say being able to argue with your friends is like is like the best place where you could be in a friendship. Because if you can argue and you still have the confidence to know that like they're still gonna be my friend after this, that's a good spot to be. Me and Victor talked about something like it was fucking stupid, but like fucking we were arguing and then we were like, all right, cool, want to play some games?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, like I think it's really important to like as I've like progressed like as a person, I guess like I've really like tightened up my like circle of friends and shit, and like I think it's important to like surround yourself with people who are gonna like push you to be a better person, and whether that's like calling you out on your bullshit or like helping you through your hard times, like people who are like genuinely care about you. Like it's sometimes hard to like it's hard if somebody comes at you with like some negative criticism about yourself. Like it's obviously never like comforting, but like if like your good friends it's coming from like a loving place. So if you can like accept that like kind of like harsh criticism of yourself, then you can only like really grow as a person. And the people who will like bring that up to you are good friends.
Yeah.
Right. And like you are like the 5 people you surround yourself with.
Exactly.
So if you have someone around you that isn't necessarily positive or like does things the way you want them to, so they could fuck you over in a way. I don't know.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like I've like there's been a like I'm still friends with some of these people, but like it's more just like how much you like interact with those people, right? Like if somebody's like bringing you down or like making you like mentally exhausted, there's really no point in keeping them around, like, or just like limiting your time with that person, because it's literally just gonna like drag you down and be like detrimental to your mental state. And like there's been a lot of people that I've been like super tight with, but I'm not really close with at all anymore, because like it was just too mentally exhausting to like keep up a relationship with them. And that's just life, right? Like that's gonna happen no matter what.
Right. And like you said, like you want people to positively influence you, even if it's calling you out on your bullshit.
Yeah.
And there's people that are just like kind of stagnant in a way, and they just kind of do stuff the way they want to, and they don't want to change, and they don't want to like progress. They just kind of want to live their life, and then those people can be kind of detrimental to you.
Exactly. Like it's good to like surround yourself with people who have like similar beliefs, or like similar interests. Like obviously, for example, like as like music producers, like you have your little circle of producers because you all like work hard, work your ass off, and share similar beliefs. And I guess it like touching on like music too, like it goes for the same thing like with like music. Like if you're a producer, like when you send a track to somebody, especially like when you're first starting out, if somebody tells you like, oh, this doesn't sound good, or like this doesn't work, it's hard to hear and it's like hard to accept. But again, like as you grow as a person and like can accept that like negative criticism, it can only benefit you. And also like any homie that you send music to, like usually like if they don't point something out, then they're just like they don't really care. Like when my homies like send me music and stuff, like I always try to like give a couple pointers or like give like some kind of feedback, because like that's why they're sending it to you, right? But some people, they just can't handle that. Like when you tell them like, oh, like the kick needs to be louder or something, people will get like super hurt, and like it's just you can't ever grow that way.
I don't like then. I don't get that. It's like if you're sending it for feedback, you're asking for like what could be improved. You're not sending it like if that's what you want, just say like, "Here, I'm not sending this for feedback. I'm sending this for like you just to like, fucking
confirm if it's sounding good or not."
Yeah.
Or like
not even to confirm, just tell me it's sounding good.
Yeah. Yeah, like usually like if I'm sending something to a friend and like cuz sometimes like something that I've been doing with some homies is sending like super rough ideas, like literally like little like 30-second sketches, and just saying like, is this going in the right direction or not? And then some like usually like we'll give each other some feedback and stuff. But like it's so annoying when people send you stuff for like feedback and you're like, oh, okay, like send them a big list of stuff and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll see about this.
Fuck that.
It's like,
then on the opposite end, there's people that you'll send stuff to and they'll be like, yeah, this is good, when you know there's like so many issues. And
yeah,
it's like, I want like actual feedback. You need people to tell you no. Like you need like, oh, the kick is bad, like fix that, right? Like when I clearly know like something's wrong with it and I'm sending it to someone and they just literally say, yeah, this is good, I'm just like, come on.
Yeah, dude, like one of my homie, like, you guys know Cyclops?
Yeah, we had him on the show.
Oh, I didn't even know. But yeah, he's like been one of my closest homies for like the past like, I want to say like 2 or 3 years. And like every time we send each other stuff, like I know when I send something to him, he's gonna give me good feedback on it, and like vice versa, because we just have that kind of relationship where like I know when he's telling me something doesn't sound good, he's saying it for a fucking reason. Like he's not just like pulling it out of his ass. And like, yeah, there's some other guys too who give really good feedback. I'm trying to think. Cyclops he's always there for me, man. He always gives me the best feedback. I love sending him stuff. There's another dude, Crimson Child. You guys familiar with him?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, he always gives like excellent feedback as well. Like he's that shout out Crimson Child though. He's insane. Like the new stuff that he's working on is like some of the craziest, like different stuff, and it's not like really dubstep. Like he's just an incredible producer.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, if you guys don't know him, definitely get familiar with the stuff. He just dropped a collab with Whipped Cream, actually.
Check it out, because I haven't heard of him. So
yeah, super good guy. He's from Vancouver also.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Well, on that like somewhat wholesome note, I think we're reaching about the end of our episode time. So, are there any like last words that you want to give anybody listening?
I don't really have any last words, but I just dropped my EP on Black Label. If you guys haven't checked it out, it would mean the world to me if you listened to it, gave it a share, if you enjoyed it. I also just dropped a couple tracks on Excision's new label. One was Cyclops, one was Zeta. So you should definitely check those out too. And I also have a couple more releases coming before this year is over. I can't give away any details, but they're going to be really big, and I'm super excited for them. And thank you guys for having me on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on.
I really like doing that. I didn't know like what to expect really, but it was fun.
Hey man, we never know what to expect when we do this, so it's a pleasure having you. Would you like to like throw out all your socials and stuff like that, where people can find you?
So it should let me see here. I think it's just Jiqui Official on everything. Yeah.
All right.
It is.
Well,
Jiqui Official, no caps, no spaces.
Okay. Well, everything for everybody listening, everything for Jiqui will be down in the description, except for Spotify. You know, I can't do that. I'm sorry. Cry me a river.
Just check every other link.
Yeah. like all of his stuff will be down in the description. All of the podcast stuff will also be down there, as well as me and Victor's personal or like individual stuff. I mean, and then yeah, join our Discord. You can come interact with us. You can come interact with like artists like Jiqui.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Join my Discord too. Can you post a link to that too?
Yeah, it'll be down
Absolutely.
there. Everything will be down
Okay,
there.
cool. Yeah, we've been playing a lot of Among Us in my Discord lately. So if you guys hop in, then we're usually like running some games there.
Sounds
I don't know if you guys have played, but it's super
dude,
fun.
hell yeah. I love the game.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. And then I guess for everybody, yeah, but that's about it. Like join our Discord, support us on Patreon if you want. I don't know.
We want more friends in the Discord.
Yeah, we want more homies in here. And
General's
then
popping.
yeah, recently, yeah. But yeah, for everybody listening, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much to Jiqui for stopping by. And
Thank you for having me.
yeah, and we'll see everybody listening in the next episode.